Hey everyone, how are we doing? We are playing. We have Max Days versus Irvin for round three of our Worst Practice tournament hosted by Alyssa Smith. How are you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing all right. We've got two pretty interesting teams here. I'd say one a little bit more interesting than the other, but
Yeah.
yeah, definitely going to be a really interesting set. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Max here?
Yeah. To be fair, Max actually won the February International Challenge on the 3DS online tournament where players actually gather and collect the championship points for the World Championships every year, basically. And also, I forgot which shiny Tapu was it for February. Was it Tapu Bulu? Because I don't really collect them.
I want to say it was Bulu. Yeah, because Feeney was the last one, so it was Bulu. But
Yeah, so he actually won that tournament with a Lugia and Xerneas, which we don't really see it going on around during that period.
yeah, I remember it was like a Psych Up Lugia with Xerneas. It was a really interesting team. But let's talk a little about these teams. So Max is
Yeah,
running Ray Ogre with Pikachu, and Irving's running standard kind of Torn Kang, except a little bit of a twist.
yeah,
Instead of Groudon Xerneas, it's actually Kyogre Xerneas.
yeah, really interesting. So, I mean, Max actually went for the double water lead, Kangaskhan and Kyogre to possibly bring Tapu Fini just to prevent Spore from Among Us because he probably thinks that Irving wants to bring Among Us here to maybe put Kyogre or Rayquaza to sleep. But if he actually goes for Kangaskhan Tornado's lead, most players want to go for like a fake out Tailwind setup so that they can bring one of their restricted in to start sweeping.
And we do see Tornadoes from Irving go straight for a Supersonic Sky Strike into the Celesteela and a double edge to follow up with that into that same slot, doing some sizable damage as Tapu Fini from Max is going to Nature's Madness and bring Tornadoes to half HP.
Yeah, that was actually well played by Irvin because instead of going for Tailwind, he just double up the Kyogre slot, which could potentially pick up a KO.
Irvin,
But
because
he could stay in with a King's Cannon and go for low kick. But right now, he wants to taunt the Celesteela to prevent like Celesteela from using Lead Seed or even White Guard in this case.
yeah, and we do see the Kangaskhan switch out for Kyogre as Celesteela goes for a heavy slam, predicting, I guess, the taunt and not going for Leech Seed, getting the KO on that Tornadus, getting an attack boost. And Feeney went for an Icy Wind, which unfortunately did miss that Kyogre.
Yeah, I mean, it's still fine for Irvin though, because right now Celesteela can't really go for tag or white guard, so it's so safe for him to go for like fake out towards Spout here. Uh, Maybe picking up the KO on Celesteela. I mean, I think it should. So maybe Max might switch into his own Kyogre to take some damage from opposing Kyogre.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see kind of how we adjust here. Of course, Celesteela cannot go for a wide guard to stop a water spout, and also can't go for a protect. So it's kind of a sitting duck here. So Max is going to kind of have to figure out his board positioning a little bit and see maybe where the weak link is on the team. Kangaskhan does go for a double edge into the Fini, taking some sizable chip, and Kyogre follows with a double up with a Thunder into that slot, and Heavy Slam from Celesteela gets the KO on that Kangaskhan.
Yeah, one thing we missed out is the Celesteela is actually attack boosted from the Beast Boost. So he might be Adamant Nature
It,
on the Celesteela.
Yeah, it's likely Adamant or maybe Brave if it does have something like a flamethrower. They tech on there sometimes.
Yeah, maybe Flame Wheel.
Yeah.
Oh no, Flame Charge, sorry. It doesn't get. And also, Celesteela doesn't recover from the leftover item. So maybe he's actually buried on Celesteela. Like, it's pretty common. Some people prefer Barry on Celesteela, some people prefer leftovers.
Yeah, we do see Max go for the Dragon
Ooh.
Ascent into the Xerneas. Does get crit with a Dazzling Gleam, and Celesteela does unfortunately faint to the double up of Thunder and Dazzling Gleam. And now it's just Max's Kyogre versus a Xerneas and a full HP Kyogre, and it does no Thunder, so it's going to be tough for Max to find a way to win this game one.
Yeah. Because we can't really tell which item the Rayquaza is holding. It's definitely not Focus Sash. It could be Assault Vest. So if it's Assault Vest, the crit might matter. And if it's Life Orb, then probably doesn't matter because the Rayquaza just took a -1 special defense from the Dragon Sense.
Yeah, it looks like Max is probably going to concede this game 1 here. Not really a win con at this point, since Azerny is faster than his Kyogre.
Yeah.
But maybe knowing that Thunder from the other Kyogre, maybe he considers bringing that Pikachu.
Pikachu.
Because it probably does a good bit of damage, I imagine, with a Light Ball item. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of adjusts here going into a game 2. He definitely probably didn't get a lot in terms of mileage of information, but at least he does know some calcs, maybe with that heavy slam onto the Celesteela, or onto the Kangaskhan and the Tornadus. So let's go ahead and jump right into game 2.
Yeah. The thing is, Max going for Water Spout in the last turn there is also a good play, because you want to scout if your Kyogre is actually faster than his Irvin's Xerneas and Kyogre. If it's faster, then you just pick up a KO on Xerneas and do a lot of damage onto his Kyogre. If it's not faster, it's fine, because you know now. And also, we know that Rayquaza doesn't have Focus Sash, so Focus Sash could be on Pikachu, or Pikachu could be carrying the Light Ball.
You have to imagine Pikachu's carrying the Light Ball. I mean, only other item, like you said, could be a Focus Sash, but at that point, I don't know, it's tough, because you can justify Focus Sash, but Light Ball just adds a lot of offensive pressure to Pikachu, I imagine, with Volt Tackle, being able to probably get rid of
knockout
Kyogre.
Yeah, knock out Kyogre and also do a lot of damage with that Nuzzle. Like, slightly more damage than usual.
Yeah, and I imagine Volt Tackle from that Pikachu would probably do a very sizable chunk to Xerneas, especially at neutral.
Yeah.
Because we actually didn't see the Incineroar last game, so maybe if he knows he can
Intimidate.
Get off a lot of free damage without having it hindered by Intimidate. That's definitely an option.
Yeah, you imagine that Irvin wants to bring his Incineroar, because like he saw Max bring Celesteela, and also it helps against Rayquaza's just to drop Rayquaza's attack. Super effective against Celesteela, and if Max decides to bring Pikachu this turn, it's also working, because you just drop both Pikachu, Celesteela, and also Rayquaza's attack, because we know that Celesteela is getting the attack base boost.
Yeah, so that's actually pretty good information for Irving. I almost said Max, for Irving to get. That Celesteela is a little bit more offensive, of course. A lot of them do kind of opt for being adamant, but we do see the Rayquaza Kyogre from Max and into the Incineroar Xerneas from Irving, so a little bit of a change up here.
Yeah, you would think that Irving wants to go for like fake out Geomancy here, but the thing for Max is he could switch into Celesteela as he do now, and then just for now he just lets Irving set up the Xerneas, but the next turn he could just switch into Kyogre back in to prevent the fire move from Incineroar, possibly Flare Blitz. But if Xerneas just predicts that and go for Moonblast onto the Kyogre slot, and if Incineroar actually has something like a Throat Chop or even Darkest Lariat, it might knock out the Kyogre, and there goes the Rain to prevent any fire move from Irvin's side.
We do see the Rayquaza switch back into that Kyogre, like you mentioned, as being a possibility, and the heavy slam into that Xerneas does a very sizable amount of damage as Irving's Incineroar goes for a U-turn, so he's going to be able to reposition his board a little bit here. And you got to imagine, bringing in that Kyogre. We still don't know what Max's 4th Pokemon is. It could be that a Pikachu, but we don't know for sure yet, and it's going to be tough, because if it is not Focus Sash, it could get caught with a KO here. We do see the Dazzling Gleam get rid of that Kyogre and the Thunder. Yeah,
another thing for Irvin, he could Moonblast the Kyogre slot earlier on, in case Celesteela has wiped up, and then just go for Water Spout. So at least you get to knock out Kyogre, and even Water Spout goes to just get blocked by White Guard. It doesn't matter, because Celesteela isn't doing a lot of damage. It's not attacking at all.
And we do see the Pikachu actually come in for Max. So that's a little bit of a change up. Of course, he's going to have that faster fake out, but of course, Incineroar could always just fake out the Rayquaza that same turn as well, and kind of make it a little bit of a stalemate. So it's going to be a little bit of a tough position for Max to kind of maneuver back into the game here.
We also we don't know what item the Rayquaza is carrying. It could be Assault Vested. If it's Assault Vested, I'm not sure if -1 Extreme Speed is enough to pick up the KO on opposing Xerneas, but if it's Life Orb, it could be enough. So if Max knows only Max knows what item his Rayquaza is, so he could just go for the fake out and extreme speed here.
And that's actually what he does. He goes for fake out, but into the Incineroar, and goes for an extreme speed into that what is now Tornadus slot.
Yeah, and it's not taking any recoil from Life Orb, so.
Yeah, I believe we saw last game. I don't believe. I think we saw last game. It's not Life Orb, but
yeah.
I don't believe it's. I believe from the damage we saw last game, it's probably not Choice Band either. So it probably could be an Assault Vest.
Yeah, possibly. So if it's Assault Vested, the critical hit from game 1 could have mattered a lot, actually.
We do see the Celesteela come back in place of that Pikachu, and Earth Power from Rayquaza does a sizable chunk to that Incineroar, and then the Throat Chop into Rayquaza does about a third of Rayquaza's HP. So it's a little bit of a threatening move, but of course the side effect of Throat Chop is probably not going to make much of a difference here.
Yeah, but actually carrying Throat Chop on Incineroar is so good, because if you have Xerneas in your team, usually you have Throat Chop just to prevent Roar from your opponent. And also, if you're using Throat Chop, it's better than Darkest Lariat against opposing Rayquaza, because you don't ignore their defense drop after the Dragon Ascent.
And I believe we probably got a confirmation there that is an Assault Vest Rayquaza, because it lived that Supersonic Sky Strike with a little bit of HP. Of course, this game's still not over by any means, but Irving's definitely a little bit in the driver's seat, because Rayquaza's not doing much in the way of offensive pressure. It can KO the Tornadus, but at that point, you're kind of stuck with Celesteela being forced into Wide Guard.
Yeah, there's Tailwind, so like Irving could just go for Hurricane onto Rayquaza. You can't miss because there's range. You just Hurricane Rayquaza and Water Spout. Even if Celesteela goes for Wide Guard here, he's not attacking at all. So, and Rayquaza should be knocked out here, unless Rayquaza goes for Extreme Speed to Tornadus, and then Max just goes for Wide Guard to save his own Rayquaza from the Water Spouts.
We see the Origin Pulse from Kyogre come through and hit into that Protect from Celesteela, so not doing anything there, but it does KO that little HP Rayquaza had left, and now we have Pikachu and Celesteela versus Xerneas and Kyogre with one turn of Tailwind left. So this is going to be a pretty scary turn for both players.
Yeah, actually, Max might pull his comeback. He just fake out the Kyogre and heavy slam Xerneas, and if his Pikachu is actually Focus Sash, he could leave the Moonblast and go for a Volt Tackle the next turn.
And we do see the Wide Guard and the Protect, so Pikachu definitely not taking anything there, but it catches both the Dazzling Gleam and the Origin Pulse, so that was a complete wasted turn of Tailwind, unfortunately, for Irving. And now Pikachu should be, realistically, one of the fastest things on the field. As Volt Tackle does pick up the KO on that Kyogre, and you gotta imagine Heavy Slam's gonna get this KO, and we're going to a Game 3.
Pikachu actually putting in a lot of work here. That's the mascot of Pokemon for you guys.
Yeah, that was definitely a very, very back and forth game.
Yeah, knowing Irving's Kyogre's moveset actually helps Max a lot, because we have seen Origin Pulse, Thunder, Protect. So we assume the last move might be Ice Beam, unless Irving might be carrying Scald or maybe Water Spout. But if it's actually Ice Beam, it's really good Irving might be carrying Scald or Max here because Water Spout. But Celesteela can just go for the White Guard to save Pikachu from Origin Pulse, and we know that Kyogre can't really use Thunder when there's Pikachu there. So Ice Beam wouldn't really do a lot to Pikachu, and you just knock out the Kyogre with your Volt Tackle.
Yeah, so I think the fear of the mascot kind of was struck into Irving a little bit there, seeing that his Kyogre did indeed very quickly drop to Pikachu.
One hit knockout.
Yeah. And you know, I don't necessarily know the calcs without Light Ball, but I feel like just because of the raw damage, that probably is a Light Ball Pikachu, which they do usually run. So for Max, we are going to see Celesteela Fini into Kyogre Xerneas. So very different leads from both players here.
Yeah. Now, Irving goes for the straight Thunder play here, because he could, like, imagine Max might have Pikachu in the back, and is Thunder even safe? Should I go for Origin Pulse here? But what if Celesteela goes for White Guard and then Fini just use Haste? Because this is a very tricky turn for both players.
Oh wow, and it looks like Irving did make a little bit of a read there. Unfortunately for him, it did not pan out. going for the Ice Beam Moonblast into the Celesteela. And Feeney was able to get a Heal Pulse into the Celesteela, and as it went for a Heavy Slam into Xerneas, which we knew did not pick up the KO, but it puts in a range from almost
Extreme
anything
speed.
Irving can throw at it,
Yeah.
or Max. We do see the
Yeah, that's
Moonblast
a
again,
lot of damage.
and
Yeah.
the Thunder. That is enough to
Oh.
KO that Celesteela. As a Nature's Madness into the Kyogre from Feeney, puts it at half HP. And even though we lost Celesteela, I'd say Celesteela kind of did what it was around for. It put Xerneas into range for other moves.
Yeah, because right now, Irvin's both restricted are taking a lot of damage, especially like Heavy Slam from the Celesteela and Nature Madness doing exactly 50% to Kyogre to. For this case, he doesn't have any. He might not have Water Spout because he revealed Ice Beam already, so it doesn't really matter. But it's in range of a Dragon Ascent from Rayquaza.
We do see the Kyogre come back in favor of that Kangaskhan, so a little bit of a change from last game as Max switches Feeney into Kyogre, and Rayquaza goes for an E-Speed into the Xerneas, so a little bit of
No Pikachu.
a dead offensive turn there, but yeah, there is no Pikachu this time, so that's good information for Irving.
Yeah, but there's just too much firepower on Max's side right now because Max has to fake out the Rayquaza here and just go for. Oh, he actually went after the Kyogre because it was a. Maybe he just thought like, oh, Rayquaza is probably just gonna extreme speed me this turn, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he probably felt pretty safe there to try and just pick off that last little bit of Xerneas, so he didn't have to worry about it later. But Irving definitely making a little bit of a safer play, I guess, switching into that Tornadus, and now he can probably set up Tailwind pretty freely.
Yeah,
and
Tailwind's
start dishing out
safe because he knows that he can take another extreme speed, so it's fine.
But actually,
But he's also risk. Yeah.
So Double Edge going into
Not going after the Kangaskhan. Yeah.
Going into Kyogre, we do see a skull get revealed from that Kyogre, so I don't believe it does not have Origin Pulse, but the Tailwind did go up. Unfortunately for Irving, a lot of his Pokemon are in range for that extreme speed.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Kyogre could take It should take another extreme speed. I mean, for Kyogre because of the health, but for Kangaskhan and Xerneas, probably not because you don't see Incineroar on the field, so there's no Intimidate on Irvin's side.
Yeah, we do see the Double Edge into the Feeney. Kangaskhan does knock itself out, activate that Wiki Berry after the Ice Beam goes into the Feeney as well, and now both these Pokemon are probably in extreme speed range. So you gotta imagine Max is feeling pretty decent about this position. Not much Irving can really do to get himself back in it. But that double up was nice with the Thunder and the Dazzling Gleam, kind of evening the playing field at 2 Mons versus 2 Mons.
Yeah, right now it's a prediction for Max to nail it because he wants to. Which do you want to extreme speed is because he could protect, which he actually did. So we know that Rayquaza is Assault Vest, so he will take Ice Beam really well from Irvin's side. So do you want to risk going for like maybe like extreme speed Xerneas again, hoping you'll actually pick up a KO, surviving Ice Beam, then the next turn you go for Dragon Ascent, hoping there's no freeze.
You also have to hope. I'm not sure what the calc there would be with a critical hit. We don't know how how these Pokemon are trained, but a double protect also could bail Irving out of this one. So it's going to be a very tricky turn, and unfortunately, for one of these players, this turn is likely going to decide how the set ends up. And we do see the extreme speed into the Xerneas. Let's pick up the KO. Ice Beam does less than half. It does not get a freeze, and I believe that seals the set for Max, since Rayquaza is faster than Kyogre.
3-hit KO from the Ice Beam. No freeze, thanks to the strong, and also the super effective has been reduced by strong winds. Rayquaza is just too good for for this format.
Yeah, that was an interesting set. We didn't see the Pikachu do a whole much in the set, but it did take that very important KO in game two on the Kyogre.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and transition now because I believe the round 4 is probably gonna be coming up pretty soon. Do you have any final thoughts, Ben?
No, just that Pikachu is amazing.
That's a very accurate observation. But for right now, guys, we're gonna take hopefully a short break, and we'll be back in hopefully about 10 or so minutes with another round. Stay tuned.
Thank you.